Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny, and as always, I thank you very much for choosing to spend a little time with me. Today you will notice that I am wearing my Frux Studio Garden Dress, which is finally finished. So today's really just going to be a quick little update on this dress. I am very pleased with the way mine turned out. However, there are some things to discuss. I will show you guys some pictures of this on me as we go. You guys, if you watch my channel regularly, you will remember that this, I started this a few weeks ago, and I made it out of this China silk or crepe de chine, which I purchased from Letoffe fabrics like ages ago. And I'll show you a picture here of the original fabric choices I had to make this, and then also make a slip dress and a pair of pants and a jacket and have a cute little like cohesive like mini capsule thing going on. However, after I got this all together, I finished it, and I didn't completely finish it. I had the front and the back done finally, and I put the inset panels on the sides in the peach, which I did a couple of days before I got a message from Christine saying she wasn't really crazy about that peach color. Maybe I could think of something else. And I sort of wrote her comment off. I was like, you know what? The peach is in there, and that's what I've got, and I'm going to stick with it. However, I then found this fabric here, which is a silk Georgette. It's not exactly the right red for this top, but it's pretty darn close. And when I put them together, I liked this a lot better than the peach. So then I undid all 4 of the French seams that held the side panels in, and I put the side panels in this silk Georgette. Now, because this was a Georgette, and because I undid all those seams, they were a little frayy, and they were pretty delicate. Also, the Georgette is definitely a little bit more sheer. So instead of just putting the panels in as the pattern describes and doing French seams again, I cut 2 panels for each side, and I made them double layer, and I burritoed them together so that you can see a picture here. The inside and the outside look the same. They're just all 4 of those seams are just enclosed. That was actually a lot easier on this fabric than doing the French seams. I'm really happy that I made that change because I really like the way it looks better this way. The rub is that it really no longer goes with the fabric I have here I was going to make the pants out of. I have actually made the pants, and I will wear them with something else, but I don't particularly like them with this. So for this, I do really like it with the pants I'm wearing it in these pictures. I'm wearing with it in these pictures are my off-white heavy linen Japants. These are the original Japants from way back. And if you're not familiar with Japants, I will leave a link to that video for you below. It's pretty old. I also really like it with this French fold shrug, my Diane Ericson French fold shrug. This is a denim linen, and this one is lined also in a very lightweight dark blue linen. I really like this with this top. So I suspect I will also like this top with my Berta jeans or my Elbe Textiles jeans. I think will look good with this. Those are a little heavier, so I probably would wear this closer to the fall with the jacket, the jeans, and a pair of boots. For today, this was perfectly fine. I really like it. I'm very happy with it. I did have some issues. I can show you pictures here. Regardless of the amount of time I took trying to make sure these things matched up, the pleats on my shoulders don't match. Like, the pleats on the back don't come in as far as the one on the front. I'm actually just gonna live with that. It's fine. I'm sure that actually had something to do with my cutting and not the actual pattern. Yeah, and I didn't have very much of this fabric, so it's not as long as the dress length of this pattern, and it is also not as short as the top length that's somewhere in between. And for this, I originally, on my neck binding, I'll show you here, I sewed it down to the outside and flipped it over, and I originally did a stitch in the ditch to hold that down on the neckline. I didn't really like the way that looked. I felt like it looked a little sloppy. So for the armholes and for the hem, I did it by hand. I sewed the binding on the armholes, and then I flipped it over and sewed it down by hand. And in the hem, I just did a tiny rolled hem, and I just did that by hand. And I really like that. I think that it was well worth the extra effort. I think it looks really pretty. I also have to say that I found this, I didn't really find it. My friend Patty sent me about 8 pounds of vintage buttons a few weeks ago. One of them was this adorable little green leaf button, which works perfectly on this dress. This dress calls for a fabric button loop, which I originally did, but because my button has like a high profile, I had to make the loop big enough to go over it, and then it didn't sit nicely, so I just clipped that off and put a thread button loop on instead, and I think I like that much better. My thread button loop is not the best loop I've ever made, because by the time I got to that point, I was pretty much cross-eyed. But the rest of this, I'm really like chuffed with the way it came out. I'm very pleased. Again, this pattern had 68, I kept calling them pin tucks, but really they're just small pleats. They're about 1/4 of an inch deep each. So that means they're 1/2 inch wide. We talked about that when I originally talked about this pattern, and I got tons of really good suggestions from you guys. But I don't think I showed you this, which is, this is a picture of the front pattern piece. And because this has all sizes printed on it, and I did not see an option for layers on this, whereby you can separate out each size to have it printed. I could be wrong. I might have just missed it. I did not see that option, so this is the way it came printed to me. And I'll give you a close-up picture here of what all those little pleat lines look like. That's bonkers, because I could not make heads or tails of that. So I actually just used the center front and the center back line, and then I measured my pleats out from there instead of trying to trace them off of this paper, because that it's not even, yeah, I couldn't make heads or tails of any of that. As far as the rest of the pattern goes, though, I made a size 10. I don't know if I have that information, but I think I do actually. So for a size 10, that is meant for a bust of 40 inches, a waist of 32, and a hip of 42. I probably could have gone down to an 8, which is measurements 38, 30, and 40. My hip is 39, so it's a little below the size 8. My bust is also a 39, so it's a little above the size 8. And my waist is actually a little bigger than the 10. So I just went with a 10. I think it worked really well. This, you can see here on the sleeves how it comes just over the shoulder a little bit. This is after I cut the sleeve down about 1/2 inch. So it was 1/2 inch further out before this. So just be aware of that. It does have a little slit in the back with a buttonhole. I'm not sure it's necessary. This neckline seems to go over my head with no problem. So if you wanted to try this without doing the center back seam and all of the, you know, the slit opening and the buttonhole and the button, if you didn't want to do all of that, you could probably get away with just cutting the back on the fold and doing it the same way you did the front. This also has pockets, which I did not put in. A, I didn't have enough fabric, and B, this fabric is too sheer. I didn't want anything to show through it. I do really love these ties on the side. I think the nice thing about these ties is I have them tied about as close as they can go, but even with that, it's still plenty roomy, so it gives a nice detail without actually making it look like you're trying to fit a dress that's not really fitted. I love that. I don't know that I have anything else to say about this dress. I will say that, as you guys who saw my first video on this know, the working with the silk was a real challenge. So if you want to try this, I would suggest using a more stable fabric. Also, if you're interested, there were a ton of comments on that last video on ways to make this a little easier to do, the pleats on the silk. So I will leave a link to that video and you can read the comments if you're interested. But I would make this dress again. However, I think with all these pleats and the fullness and the length, I think it could get really heavy and a little stiff if your fabric is too stable. Like, I probably wouldn't make it in like a shirting cotton or something like that. I would, however, definitely make it in a linen. A lighter weight linen would be really cool. I could see this in a rayon, like a challis or a twill or something would be really beautiful. But again, you're going to have some real challenges getting these pleats in there, and you're going to want to mitigate those challenges before you even start. So just keep that in mind. I actually think that that is all I have for you guys this week. The last 2 weeks of sewing have been a little bit of a challenge for me. And next week is a holiday week here. It is Labor Day here in the United States, so my husband's taking a few days off of work, and I think I will take the opportunity to have a week off as well, which means that I won't see you until 2 weeks from today. I hope you guys, anybody who's celebrating a holiday, a late summer or early fall holiday, I hope you enjoy it, and if you don't have one, I hope you enjoy that too. And I will see you guys all in a couple of weeks. Until then, I wish you happy sewing.